And editor-in-chief, Steve Forbes. Steve, they keep making these allegations. The Republicans are trying to steal, Social Security. They're not. They're trying to save it. And the only way to save it is to clean it up, make sure people who are not eligible don't get their benefits. Somehow that's bad and that the Republicans are trying to destroy Social Security.
Well, that video with Schumer doing that to save Social Security looks like he's trying to audit or do a debut as a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Repeat after me. Well, they have no other real substantive issue yet. And so they're trying to gut Medicare. They're going to go after Medicaid. They're going to take away your Social Security benefits. Wheelchairs were invented to get grandma, push her off the cliff and that kind of thing. And so it just is false. Trump made it very clear, both in his first term and this term, benefits are not going to be cut. Now you can say, well, what are you going to do to save the system? I've got ideas on that, positive ones, rather than some of the dumb ones members of my party are putting forth. But he's not going to touch it. So they make things up. It's not the first time they've made things up. And I'm just wondering who wrote Joe Biden's speech. But you could see, after a sentence, he's got to say, they're trying to steal Social Security. They're trying to take it away. He just has to repeat and repeat. Sad.
Well, turn it back on them, because if they do nothing, the Social Security, the hospital trust fund, runs out of money in about a decade. I think it's 11 years, and there's an automatic benefit cut to 89 cents on the dollar. So an 11% benefit cut, boom, they don't have to do anything. So let them chew on that for a minute. Can we chew on this?
Well, realistically, Congress is not going to let that happen. They all have to face re-election at some point. And the amazing thing is, these assumptions about Social Security assume a 1.8% growth rate. If you have the American economy grow at a historic growth rate of 3.5%, you have decades before the system actually theoretically runs out of money. And I'll say this. For younger people, allow a portion of their payroll tax to go to their own personal retirement accounts so they control it, not Washington politicians. They determine their retirement age, whether it's 60 or 95, put it in the hands of the people. Yep. And then young workers would realize it's their labor that's creating this capital, this account, not Washington politicians. So there are positive things they can do. You don't need root canal without anesthesia to cure Social Security.
So there's some talk on Capitol Hill about a so-called millionaire's tax. Bloomberg is reporting with Secretary Bessent that all things are on the table, is I think the quote. What's your take on this?
Well, I'm sad to say there's a reason why the Republican Party is sometimes called the stupid party. You'd think they would have learned after Read My Lips where that leads. They think, oh, this will take away the rich charge that we're helping the rich. You could double the top income tax rate, and the Democrats would still say it's not enough. You could have a 200% rate, they'd still say it's not enough.
Right.
And so get over it. Make the case why it hurts, raising those tax rates hurts businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, or taxes as pass-throughs. So stop this nonsense and get spine and defend. We want you to keep more. We want you to earn more. We want people to start more businesses, create more jobs here at home. And you don't do it by raising taxes on people. And where's the real money in this country? The middle class. They don't tell you that.
And the middle class got a tax cut because they got rid of the SALT deduction, or capped it at $10,000.
Well, they doubled the standard deduction, which reduced the number of people who filed deductions on their tax return from almost 40% down to 9%. Good step to the flat tax. I liked it.
But I want to ask you, before we move on, to tie everything together, Larry Kudlow, and he's losing his mind about this. President Trump has spoken to Speaker Johnson twice and says he's okay with raising the top individual rate. J.D. Vance in favor of raising the top individual rate. And now Bloomberg reports that Republicans in the White House, Senate, and House are drafting analysis on how to best craft a new tax bracket for the wealthiest Americans. Like a new rate of 40% for taxpayers earning $1 million or more. Steve, you must be losing your mind that they would even think about doing this. And you know why? Because they're gutless and they won't cut spending. They will not cut spending, and they talk about raising revenue rather than cutting spending. They're going to dig in to the people who already pay 40% or more of all the income taxes.
They've determined to shoot themselves. They wrote these crazy rules, and now instead of changing them and saying if you have a growing economy, 3.5%, revenues will take care of themselves, and if you have a growing economy. And the way you get a growing economy is reducing tax rates. We're doing it on regulation. We've got to do it on tax rates. But it's amazing. Where's Ronald Reagan? I feel like maybe we should have re-education camps for Republicans about taxes. Lower taxes, more prosperity. It's been true for 4,000 years. Hello, guys, what don't you get?
Well, and part of, to Dagan's point, you got to cut spending. So the president, the White House is looking.
What do they think?
Well, part of what
Musk is doing.
Well, but part of what they're doing is sending a formal request to nix $9.3 billion for PBS, NPR, others. What's your take on that?
Well, those things were once sacred cows. Now there are no more sacred cows. So I'm sure there'll be a whack on that. And I remember when I ran, a friend of mine who was in Hollywood came up with an idea. At the time, NPR owned a lot of licenses for radio and TV stations. Why not sell the duplicates and create an endowment fund so you don't need government money? Could have done that 30 years ago. Don't think we can do it now, so now they face the consequences.
All right, one last thing. You're not a dog owner, but you are one dog lover. There are many in your family. And Mother Jones came out with this absolutely insane piece the other day. Bad news for man's best friend. Dogs are environmental villains. They have extensive and multifarious environmental impacts, disturbing wildlife, polluting waterways, and contributing to carbon emissions. New research has found out. They used to be the members of the same tribe, the environmentalists and the animal lovers, not anymore.
Well, first of all, I thought that was a Babylon Bee satire on what's happened in the environmental movement, and I'll spare the jokes about going to the dogs and all that kind of thing because it's an insult to dogs. But it shows that anything that lives, they consider a hazard to the environment, whether it's dogs, people, anything. And so I'm glad they're doing it because it just shows how morally and intellectually bankrupt the far left has become on the environment.
I would love to see PETA have a discussion with Mother Jones about the idea that, hey, we need less dogs, and then how would you get less dogs? Kill them? I mean, kill them?
Euthanize them.
Yeah. PETA, I would love to see that discussion. It's so stupid. I don't know how to even deal with it.
I can tie everything together. You ready? You ready? Okay, because we started with Joe Biden and talked about the tax cuts. If the Republicans screw this up, White House, Senate, and House, if they screw up this one big beautiful bill and the deregulation and the writing the World Trade Order, if they foul this up and raise taxes, hand in just a slice of cake to the left, this is where we're going again. Because this is how insane
Look what happened
the
to
Democrat
George
Party is.
W. Bush.
Yeah.
What he did on taxes didn't buy him any support, helped cost him the presidency. And by the way, some historians make the case one of the great inventions of humankind was the dog, turning wolves into dogs thousands of years ago. So with that pedigree, I have a word for Mother Jones, which I won't say on a station like this, which is family-oriented.
I know what it is, and I won't say it. It's the dog word for a sow or a heifer, and you don't want to be called any of those.
No,
Having been called all
Thanks,
three.
Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I've
They
been called
might
a
say
sow
they're
and a-
barking up the
Yeah.
wrong tree, the
Yes.
environmentalists.
Thank you, Steve. Coming up,